fight of getting the country together, not just a right versus left issue, but a Britain versus everything else issue.
I mean, we're not far right, are we? We're not labelled as far right and everything like that, but we're not. We're just people that are tired and sick of being really downtrodden.
You know, we feel the football terraces and we've given into that as a bit of an idol, worshipping at the feet of footballers. But we need to get back to the church, and I believe that will spark a revival.
I love the flag.
I love the flag.
I love the English flag.
You might put something on Facebook and they'll agree with it, but they won't even put a thumbs up on it, they won't even share it, they'll agree with it, but they're scared out of their lives because they might lose their job or something.
To represent, we need to make sure that it's Christ taking this country back. Otherwise we just leave a vacuum. And that's what's happened. Wokeism has come in. Wokeism is Christianity without Christ.
Unity, what we need in this country, that's what we're lacking.
An election's coming, the people are disgruntled, and here I am in Parliament Square, basically with a lot of patriots, a lot of nationalists, a lot of people that are very pissed off with the current situation in this country. I wish things were on a positive note. I wish things were looking great for England and the United Kingdom and the British Isles. But sadly, we are being run by puppets to the NWO. I've spoken about this many, many times on my channel, and I've spoken about this many, many times on Twitter, which has been banned and unbanned and then banned again. But it's good to see such a large gathering. The majority of these people are here because Tommy Robinson organised an event. There's a stage back there. But a lot of people are just here because they don't feel like they have a voice, and they've all decided to come down and give their voice. This is a moment for them to give their voice, and this is a moment for them to basically feel proud of the country they come from, hence the chants. There's patriotism, there we go. It is a very trouble-free atmosphere. There's families here, there are victims of grooming gangs here, there are all types of people here, from the celebrities to the general common man. Join me as we talk to a few of these people.
What follows is a series of interviews of different people. I believe the internet should be a place for free speech and not censorship. The only way we can learn from each other is to listen to each other.
How are you doing? So what brings you here today?
I'm here to support Tony Robinson because I love the flag.
I love the flag?
I love the English flag.
I noticed by your accent you're not originally from here.
No, I'm a Nigerian, but I've been here for about 30 years.
And your sign says on camera?
Yeah, my sign says why I love the English flag. I love the English flag because a man named William Wilberforce, he campaigned to stop the slave trade in 1807. So in appreciation of that, and I've been here, I need to give back. I love what he's done. And as an Englishman, I need to pay back. I need to give back.
Yeah, it's just pride, mate, just being one part of the community, English people, British people together, showing their love for the country. And travel down here from Leeds today, just to be part with everybody else, you know. The more the better, number in strengths, all that kind of thing, you know. Unity, that's what we need in this country, that's what we're lacking, you know, from these over there.
Do you feel days like this helps create the unity?
Of course it brings us together, doesn't it? You know, like say a football match, something like that, on the day. Bring people together. The more people we have, the more voices we have, we stand together.
Are there many football supporters in this crowd?
Well, I would imagine there is, yeah. But I mean, I think it's all good natured, isn't it, today? Really. Oh, hopefully, yeah, it lasts. We have no bother. But it's just about being together, showing our voices, listening to Tommy. Tommy's the leader. We want people like that speaking out for the people. We have no leader, do we? No spokesman, nobody to talk for us. You can't listen to them. You can't listen to Labour, Keir Starmer, Rishi Sunak, any of them, because they don't speak for us. Like they say, all part of the globalist bloody trend, isn't it? We want somebody like Tommy who has a voice. Lawrence Fox and such like. Yourself reporting, you know, urban medias, that kind of thing. Underground media. People like you just bring it to the fore. It's the people that are out there, the numbers that are asleep. They just will not come to the fore. and join. I mean, we're not far right, are we? We're not labelled as far right and everything like that, but we're not. We're just people that are tired and sick of being really downtrodden.
And what brings you here today?
I just felt like a day out. This lot, obviously, the march.
But was it anyone particular, or was it any reason?
No, I think Tommy, when he put out the thing the other week, said everyone coming together, no matter where you're from, what your background is. Obviously, I'm of Irish background. You know, get down here. You got to show your face. There's a lot of people that should be here. There's a lot of people that be watching on YouTube and that just don't come out. It's ridiculous.
What do you say to the people that just sort of stay at home, just thinking it's only going to get better if they stay at home?
I find it bad. I find it bad that people are scared to say anything like on Facebook. They might see, you might put something on Facebook and they'll agree with it, but they won't even put a thumbs up on it. They won't even share it. They'll agree with it, but they're scared out of their lives because they might lose their job or something. Fear of persecution. That really annoys me. But then I can understand what they're supposed to do. It shouldn't be like that. You shouldn't have to do that. You really shouldn't. You know, you shouldn't have to be. You should be able to be able to speak your mind. But we can't, can we?
We certainly can't.
So there you go. But
what do you think? I noticed that you've obviously got an Israeli flag here. What do you think it means to the people of Israel when they see gatherings like this?
Well, I listen. I don't know the first thing about the politics of what's going on out there. All I know is I come across in my own business. I work with a lot of Jewish people. To be honest with you, if it wasn't for Jewish people, I wouldn't have a business. Nor would my missus. And I speak to a lot of my dolos, as I call them, every day. And a lot of them are going to work, having to hide their Star of David, or their kids are scared to go into school or something. They shouldn't have to feel like that. We're supposed to be against racism, but at the moment it seems that it's okay to be racist against Jews. So that's why I wear that, or I've brought that today. Yeah, that's just my take. You know, no one wants to see the killing. No one wants to see war. No one wants to see what's going on out there in the Ukraine or Russia or Gaza and and all around the world. There's lots of things going on. No one wants to see kids getting harmed and and everything else. But this is nothing to do with your average working Jew in this country or wherever else. You know, why should they be spat at? Like this lady here. Why should she feel? Why should she feel? Anna, darling, come over here. He's just asking me about why have I got this flag. You people should not feel, but Jewish people should not feel persecuted in this country. It's supposed to be so anti-racist, yet, a lot of Jews I know, I was just saying to the chap, having to hide their Star of David at work, or, those that know that they're Jewish, they're being shunned. They've been pushed to the side. So, yeah, that's my take on it. I don't know the politics, about it all, what's going on out there, but that's it, yeah. Hope that made sense.
Obviously, there's a lot of Israeli flags here today. How much of a change is that compared to what we've been seeing since October?
Well, if you're talking about the Hamas marches, pro-Hamas marches, then this is the resistance to that. And of course, we're going to come out and support it because I'm English, I'm also Jewish, and I can see what's happening in Israel. I can see that what the truth is being denied, and they're calling the Israeli resistance, and they're fighting an existential war, and they're calling it, they're calling them Nazis, and they're calling them all sorts of terrible names for defending themselves. I mean, we all saw what happened on October the 7th. How can Biden, be on the side of people who did that? How can he? But he is. And this is the world we're living in at the moment. So this is the resistance here today.
Are you optimistic about this country's future, or negative about this country's future? Moving away from Israel now.
Well, it's very hard to say. I mean, let's see what happens on July 4th. Yeah, let's see what happens, because it'll be a very telltale sign, I think. how people vote, what happens.
I'm British till I die! I'm British till I die! I know I am, I'm sure I am, I'm British till I die!
Here today anyway. What brings me here today? I'm British, English, fucking proud man, and we're losing our country. It's no joke. It's a fact, it's happening. People are fast asleep. We've all had money, we've all had a lovely life, and we've been asleep while people are coming in. It's an invasion. We're being invaded. Make no mistake about it.
Half of the social housing in London is occupied by people born overseas. That is unbelievable.
So what brings you here today?
So I love the rich history of this country. It's a Christian nation. You know, we have a rich history of people like Charles Spurgeon, John Wesley, John Knox. We've had many revivals. And during World War II as well, this country fasted and prayed and appealed to God. But the watchmen of this nation, you know, the leaders, but not only the leaders, the men and women that are here today, we are the watchmen of this nation. And many of us, we have abandoned our post and we've abandoned our God. And the only way out of this mess is to repent and to turn back to Jesus Christ and make him Lord of our life. So we're here today because we know he's the only solution to the problem. That, you know, having a bit of nationalism without Christ, having a bit of, trying to be kind without Christ, it doesn't do anything. You need to have Jesus in it. He is the power of God unto salvation. So we're here, we want to declare that he is the way, the truth and the life. You cannot come to the Father except through Christ.
Say drunken, bald-headed, tattooed thugs. My kind of people. Now you remember who called you that, don't you? You won't forget, will you? Least of all when he tells you how to vote in this general election.
My name is Every Ford. I'm from the Isle of Sheppey in Kent. And I think I'm here today to represent all of us, all of these lovely people here who want to represent freedom of speech and our right to be Christians. And I think that the reason we're all here is because we've had enough of being persecuted by our own government. How's that?
What brings you here today?
Just to listen to what Tommy's got to say. I think, like a lot of people in the country, I'm disillusioned with the mainstream politics, especially. I'm naturally a Conservative voter, but there is no Conservative Party as I recognise it at the moment. I've never really been a follower of Tommy Robinson, but over the last few months, especially since October 7th, I've seen the streets of London especially taken over by people who really express a lot of hate towards Jews especially, and I don't want to see that on the streets of my cities. So this is a bit of a counter of that.
So this gives people a voice that haven't really had a voice since October 7th?
Yeah, I mean, on social media, I put stuff on social media in support of Israel, in support of Jewish people, because they're under attack across the world at the moment, which I think is a tragedy. And it's a lot was talked about 1930s. Well, we're there at the moment. We really are, and I fully support Israel in its fight against the terrorists. And I think Tommy sparked into action by the marches, the hate marches every Saturday, and I think that's why he's doing this. And I wanted to be one to respond to it as well.
Some people are probably going to read in the papers, if they print anything tomorrow, that it was a far-right gathering. How would you respond to the people that, basically read that or think that?
No, it's not far-right. I mean, I'm a sort of centre-right sort of person, probably a little bit further right these days in response to some of the insanity that's thrown out there. But no, I've seen nothing far-right. I mean, people with strong views, certainly. I don't class, from what I've heard, Tommy far-right. Far-right indicates hatred and violence, and I've not seen any of that at all. We've come here peacefully. I said to somebody earlier on, somebody visibly Jewish would have no problem turning up today. There's Israeli flags around. There was somebody with a kippah earlier on. I've got a Star of David on. It's, there's no fear for a Jew to come to here. And I also said there's no fear for a Muslim to come here. people are walking past all the time. I'm sure lots of Muslims have walked past. They've got no fear. But that's not the case on those other marches where the police literally say, you're visibly Jewish, you can't be here because there'll be a breach of the peace, you'll be attacked.
So what I've done is to set up a charity called True Love Foundation. So to cure what we call divorce and domestic violence. So I write books. And of course, a man that has true love in his heart will not abuse the wife, will not abuse the woman. So they will love themselves so much, so the wife benefit from the love. So that's what we do.
So love conquers all?
It conquers everything. And a man must know his purpose in life. Once a man knows that he is a king, and a king, the nature of a king is love. So every day, 24/7, 365 days in a year, he gives love to his wife, because that's what he's got.
I'm from Manchester. I set off this morning. I'm homeless and I build houses, so I heard the movement going on and just wanted to be a part of it.
I'm loving the fact that you've got the St George's Cross times 2.
I keep finding them on the floor, so I'm just throwing them, wherever they can. I've got 3 so far. More the merrier. There's one behind me here, but we'll leave that there for him.
You leave it for David Lloyd
Yeah.
George. What do you think? What do you think the reason is for this gathering? Why do you think? What do you think the majority of people?
Well, look at the country. You're not struggling. Everyone's sat at home moaning and whinging about how the country's in a mess. So let's all get together and be a voice. You know what I mean?
Do you think things like this help?
Well, it will help. The more the merrier. The more people that turn up, then it will help. Yeah, it'll have a difference. People, they're marching all around this capital city of ours, Palestine and Israel, every week. We've just got together this one time, and it's a good turnout. So let's do it again.
So the people that are basically, they decide to stay at home, they think it's not going to make a difference.
Well, I'm getting messages like, is this EDL? And all, like, no, it's a totally different, it's not that movement, we're all together, we're all united. Together, united we stand, divided we die, so, we all should stick together against those over there. You know what I mean?
We got an election coming up.
Reform. Vote Reform. I've never voted in my life, but I'm going to vote Reform.
And why is that?
Why not? What would you vote, Labour or Conservative? It's been a mess, hasn't it? So why not try something new? Yeah.
You got to change something, absolutely.
Hopefully, the more the merrier. The more people that do this, the better for this country that everyone loves. I mean, so yeah.
So are you optimistic about the future?
If we have more of these, yeah. But I don't know. It's hard to say, really. It's a bit. What about you? What do you think? Are you optimistic?
I'm trying not to be a nihilist. I try to be as optimistic as possible, but I think
it's everything that's going on. I build houses and I'm homeless, so I wake up every day with no optimism. But we've got to have a bit of hope, haven't we? So, yeah.
What have you done to protect our borders? What have you done to protect our daughters from 50 years of rape and torture at the hands of Islamic gangs?
When did you realise we were being persecuted?
Oh, well, a long time ago. I've seen it all the time. I've seen this country being taken over. We're giving it away. We're selling our own properties to foreigners when it should stay within the house. They've opened up. The government opened it up because they thought there was any money. But who was they the money for? Is it for them or for us? Because we're not seeing it, are we? We're not seeing schools being rebuilt. We're not seeing schools being refurbished. We're not seeing anything really being done for the country. Where's all that money going? They say it's going on this or whatever, armaments or whatever. We're not interested in armaments. I want to see schools being built. I want to see education for children. And basically a better world. Freedom of speech as well,
When you say freedom of speech, and I'm a big proponent of freedom of speech, how do you feel personally that you don't have freedom of speech? I'm just asking that question.
Because most of the people saying freedom of speech now use it as violence. Freedom of speech is not violent. It's a right to just discuss and think about things, go home and think about it. You're not going to go out and start radically killing people, are you? Do you know what I mean? So I think that's what true Christianity teaches. that we understand, we go home and we think about it. Is that right? Or I think that's right.
No, I totally agree. Excuse me while I clear my throat. I've been talking a lot today. One second. In terms of you note your Christianity there. I've noted in speaking to a lot of the crowd today, there seems to be a lot of Christians here today. Do you think what do you think draws the Christians that are here today to this movement?
Well, I think Christianity is a big movement here, and we need them here because that's true peace. You know, Christians help each other. There's only 2 commandments. There's 10 commandments, yeah? But there's only 2 you need to live by. Thou shalt not kill, and thou shalt love thy brother. If you live by them, all the rest fall in. And that's it. Thou shalt not kill, and thou shalt love thy brother. That means you're not going to go and shag your mate's wife, you're not going to fucking commit adultery, you're not going to burgle your mate's house. You've got to do none of it. Because you've got total respect. There is 10 commandments, but you only need to live by them 2. Thou shalt not kill, and thou shalt love thy brother. And that's it. And it falls in, mate.
I think that's a beautiful message.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. How would you respond to Christians that maybe disagree with an event like this, and what would you say to them?
Yeah, I understand in some ways, and you know, I think we're a body. So some people are the hand and some people are the feet. I think many Christians have stood apathetic in history, and we bury our head in the sand. And we saw that in the 1930s Germany, where there was a nationalist movement rising up, and the Christians buried their head in the sand. And actually they hijacked Christianity. But we need a strong Christianity. We need a Christianity that's willing to tell the truth and speak it boldly in love. And these are the men and women of this country, and they're passionate, and they're worshippers. And many of them stand on the terraces of the football field and they raise their hands up in worship to a football. But we need to rally them up to Jesus, to be the sons and daughters of Christ that we are as a nation, and bring revival and reformation to this country once again. And without Christ, we're just raising up another evil. Thank you, love.
Have you ever come across people that question why you might attend an event like this?
Yes. Someone came, he said it's from radio, radio 4, BBC 4, and he was saying, why do I attend this kind of event? I said, well, this guy is the greatest British patriot because he's telling the truth. And people don't like to hear the truth. And that is why he's more to the United Kingdom than any of the MPs. Well, he has a vision, but the MPs, they don't have a vision. They're just there for themselves. Because everybody, if you go as an MP, what do you want to achieve? What problem do you want to solve for your people? Like me now, my giving back to the British people is I'm solving 2 problems, divorce and domestic violence, through the word, through love.
It's very honourable.
Yeah.
I imagine you. I'm going to guess your answer, but I could be wrong. I'm going to guess that you're going to say optimistic, but my question is, are you optimistic or negative about the future?
I'm so optimistic.
So optimistic.
Yes, because you see, once people know what love is, love means you are positive every time. But once you don't have love in you, take for instance, I said the English people took true love to all over the world. That means they took the name of Jesus to all over the world. And the name of Jesus is love. That is love. That is the meaning. He preached love. That is why he was put on the cross, because they don't want to hear. But he went to the cross, and the 3rd day he rose. So the message, in fact, we had about 8 empires have come and gone, but the message of Christ is still all over today. He didn't bring religion. No. He brought what we call the kingdom message. That kingdom message means you go and solve a problem. Be my ambassador. Go and solve a problem. So if you say, I love Jesus, you go and find a problem to solve. Why do you have the churches closed? On Sunday, nobody goes. Why? Because they were preaching religion. They were not teaching the message of Christ. That's why, because the message of Christ is that go and represent me and preach positive, solve problems.
It used to be, when I was a teenager, the average house price was 4 times the national average wage. Now it's 12 times. Demand matters. Demand on the NHS matters. About 10%, 11% of this crowd is probably on an NHS waiting list. But it's unbelievable what they're doing to us. And they're doing it because of a fiction. They think this will grow the economy. Well, okay, where is it? Where is it? Everything is falling apart.
Yeah, we need Christians in this march. We need us here to represent. We need to make sure that it's Christ taking this country back. Yeah, otherwise we just leave a vacuum. That's what's happened. Wokeism has come in. Wokeism is Christianity without Christ. You know, it's like the first thing that these leaders want to do, like Mao and Stalin, they wanted to get rid of God and make themselves as God, and that's what the government has done. They've got rid of Jesus, they've infiltrated the church, they've taken God and Jesus and the Bible out of the church. We need to raise up, we need to be a strong, muscular Christianity again.
I go along with the brother here. Where our community is lacking, yeah, where we've got no community no more, it's because we haven't got Jesus in our community. We haven't got Jesus in our schools, yeah, teaching us that moral, bringing that identity, what should be. What I was brought up in the church. I may have run away from it, you know, as a kid, but I was brought up with those values, those morals. But I may have rebelled. But that's the point I'm getting.
What brought you back?
An attack. Okay. An attack. And when you get an attack, you kind of get a conviction to the wrong life that you're living without Jesus. Yeah. So what you have to do is you have to bring yourself back to Jesus. Call upon Him. And it's a tough journey. It's not easy. Yeah. But it gives you that sense of moral. You die to your old self, yeah. So that person that used to be that womanizer, that alcohol, abuser or whatever, you've died to that person. That person no longer exists in you. Yeah. You become a new creation. That's the best way of putting it. And that's what the brother here is saying. What we need for this country, yeah. Because without Jesus as king in this country is literally going to give it. Well, it has already given itself over. It's given itself over already. Not it will do, it has. Do you know what I mean? It's given itself over to reprobation, basically. It's just everything, you name it. It's given itself.
Well, I stand today as just a husband, a father, an Englishman. And I can see that we're still alive. Because by God, you wouldn't know it if you were looking at the TV, would you? Where is your representation? Where are your concerns being made present?
It's Paul McDermott from Rotherham. One of the worst child grooming areas ever.
What brings you here today?
I've got to support my country. I fear for my grandchildren. I fear for the future of this country. Becoming a Muslim state, being overrun by people we don't want here. Police aggression. We don't have any rights. The rights are given to people that live here that are not born and bred in this country, have paid no contribution to this country, don't belong in this country. And I'll state that I'm not a racist, I'm a realist. And I just want to say to all of you that think that this march is racist, it's not. It's just about being real, and we want our country back.
A lot of ex-Christians and people that might call themselves Christians no longer attend church because their church has gone down, what should we say, the LGBTQ+ route. It's been infiltrated by the woke, and they don't feel a sense of belonging in most of the churches. What would your advice be to them?
I also think that a lot of churches have been quite boring in the past or very wishy-washy and not showing kind of a strong Christianity, but as well as the LGBT thing, But I think I don't have much time for religion. I like relationship with God, and so we need to pursue that relationship with God. But Calvin Robinson has a really short, sharp statement, and he just says, go to church. I've heard him say that quite a lot of time. And there's a duty of Britishmen to start returning to the churches. You know, we feel the football terraces, and we've given into that as a bit of an idol, worshipping at the feet of footballers. But we need to get back to the church, and I believe that will spark a revival. We might not feel anything at first, it might be boring, but we need to get passionate about the things of God again. He's there to be found. The Bible says, seek and you will find. So we need to start reading our Bibles. It's a duty of Englishmen to get the scriptures again and to return to our first love again, which is Jesus. All right?
Appreciate that.
Bless you, man.
Do you feel optimistic or negative about the future?
I'm quite negative about the future at the moment, but with rallies like this, and maybe in the future we can achieve the goal of making normal British people see sense that you need to come down here and march, you need to vote for the people that you want to vote for, make the correct vote, not for the top three parties, put people in power that care about this country.
So you haven't lost hope in the democracy system that we have, the parliamentary system. You still have hope for that system.
At my age, I don't have long left. I have lost all faith in democracy in this country. There is no democracy at all. There is no freedom. There's no freedom of speech. There's no freedom of rights. But as I say, hopefully young people will take this on board and they'll do what I've done as an elderly man and come here and protest until we get the results we want.
What have you done to protect our precious cultural inheritance, of which you are the custodians?
We have an election coming up in July the 4th. Are you optimistic or pessimistic about the future of this country?
I've never been more pessimistic about the future of this country. I voted Conservative in 2019. I wasn't keen on Boris Johnson. I thought the baggage that his personal life brought would come back to bite him, which it did. He's weak. He's not particularly competent, but everyone wanted him as leader, so he was leader. We've got the majority, and they've done nothing with that majority at all. They haven't delivered a proper Brexit. They haven't done anything about immigration. It's the worst it's ever been. The country's being invaded, and you know, people have had enough, really. So no, this upcoming election, I'm politically homeless now, completely. Reform, I'm going to do anything. I'll either vote for reform or I will none of the above, as was said earlier on.
Despite what we've seen in the last couple of days, do you still vision your cap will save America, or the message on your cap will save America?
I hope so. I don't think there's any other way.
I'm English.
Yeah,
I'm English. I'm English. I'm an activist, really, and I've got a channel. I've got quite a big channel, and I do a lot of music for Truth Movement under Mr. Good.
Okay.
I've got a load of Spotify tunes. They're quite big in America and things, actually, so we get behind that. But I just thought I'd pop down. I'm just in town for a couple of days, so I thought I'd pop past and see what's going on. But I'm not exactly. I'm a little bit suspicious of some of the things that are going on the sort of deeper political level. Not this movement. These are great guys and everything, but there's an element of control which I think people miss, which is that this has all been done by Zionists, and all the people that control the politics and the film industry and the money are all Zionists. The Congress is completely infested with them, and they're permanent Washington, and they're the ones driving the countries down. They're the ones in control. They're the ones driving the countries down. It's not Jewish people, but they're in control, and they pay people to represent them, and they shield behind the Jewish suffering. They shield behind it, and they kick off. They want a big fight between Christians and Muslims, and they've always wanted that big fight. This goes back. This is a holy war that they've planned for a long, long time. Before the pandemic, the New World Order. This is what they want, and this is a big fight between Muslims and Christians, and a lot of these guys are exacerbating that, and they're not staying out of it. Why are they? I don't know why we've got Israeli flags in a Britain First movement.
Do you not think that you can align with yourself with, the country, but you can separate it from what you say is Zionism?
I align myself with all decent people of every religion and every country, but people in control are the devious ones. If you look at people, Soros is funding, he's a Jewish guy, he's funding the Hamas protests. He's funding them. The Rothschilds, the Zionists are funding all the Hamas left-wing activism. They always do. You know, they just Black Lives Matter and everything else. So they're funding that too. They fund some of the speakers. They fund some speakers that go up and say one thing only. But rather than, they talk about Britain for a while, but really they're only ever bolstering Israel, which is a deep state, which is not the Jewish people. It's a deep state. Like, they're not. I don't know why people would criticize Britain and American governments non-stop, and then completely support Israel's government like they'd never do anything wrong, when they're vicious, they're corrupt as hell. And they're as bad as anyone, and also they control the British politics. They brag about it. They control the British politics. They control the American politics. Half the American Congress has got dual passports, and they're the Democrats and they're the left wing. They're the ones doing it. So there's a confusion going on.
But in terms of the response to the, for example, you're seeing a lot of Israeli flags here today because the Israelis who live in London, as in the English people who also hold the British flag, the St. George's flag, the Union Jack, and then they also consider themselves to be aligned to Israel because maybe they got two passports, maybe they got family, and as we all know, we are not our governments, and we can align ourselves with our flag. Doesn't mean we associate ourselves with the ruling class of our country.
Well, absolutely, but I didn't see any other flags here, and also I didn't hear Tommy talking for. I didn't see. Well, there's some British flags around, but I didn't see. And also, they were talking for half an hour about Israel. Coincidentally, what about everyone else who's suffering? What about the problems that the Zionists are causing, which Tommy never mentions? He never mentions that. And the reality is, the power. It's not the rape gangs from Muslim rape gangs who are destroying the country, as in they're not making the policies, they're not flooding it, they didn't bring in COVID, they're not flooding in the immigrants, they're not behind it. The Zionist lobbies are exactly behind it. Exactly behind it. The guy that's the American. The American Congress who are doing it, they're all Zionists. They're all Zionists, and they're bringing in everyone else because they want to destroy Christianity and smash them with all the other religions.
How do you appease, for example, the Jewish community that aren't, aligning themselves with, we can't take responsibility for what the British government is doing in funding the wars overseas. So how do you align yourselves with those people, or you simply can't?
They should be disgusted with their governments, just like we are. They should be disgusted at what they're doing, because the war that they're doing at the moment, it's not like the people want to just slaughter loads of people. They're not doing it in their name. They're causing problems for Jewish people, let's face it. Because all these protests against Jewish people is not because of what they've done, it's because of what their government's done. Their horrendous government. And they're not they're not even Jewish. They're secular people. They don't give a shit. They're the same as the Brits. They're dark, they're satanic, they're whatever. They're not good Christian people, they're not good Jewish people. These are like saboteurs, they're bank stooges. And the Rothschilds set up Israel. They established it. The Balfour Declaration was their country. It's a private banker corporation like Britain, like America. We're ruled by these people, and we always have been. So there's a confusion as to who's doing it. But Jewish people should be screaming out about this as much as anyone else, because it's not them doing it, it's always the ruling elite. But they're excellent at shielding behind Jewish people, and they've done it for a long, long time. They've shielded behind them, and they push the victimhood status not for their benefit, not for Jewish people's benefit, because they don't care. They vaccinate the whole of Israel like anywhere else. They don't care about these people. They don't care that they're going to get slaughtered or going to have a fight with Muslims in the street. They don't care about that. What they care about is power, obviously, as always. And the people doing it have been the same for a long, long time. They're the people the Christian nationalists in Germany, as much as they've got a terrible name, they were a Christian nationalist country, very successful, and the banking cartels didn't like it. So the bankers who happened to be Jewish, but they weren't the Jewish people, but they were the same families which run our banks now, which everyone agrees are corrupt. They were the same ones in Germany. Hitler asked them to leave, he kicked them out, and Germany's prosperity went through the roof in a matter of months, like nowhere else on earth in history. In fact, the prosperity that they saw when they kicked out the central banks, that's the key.
Some people are going to take slight offence, but everyone has a right to be offended. Would you better sit side by side with a Jewish person, and you can be just as friendly with them?
Listen, I spend most of my time and my career, most of my job, criticising the British government. I criticise the American government. No one stands up and goes, "You hate Americans." No one thinks I'm going to want to kill Americans. No one thinks I hate British people. I criticise my own government. So why shouldn't I criticise another terribly corrupt government? Why are everyone so loyal to the state when the state aren't serving the people? And Israel's just as bad, worse than anywhere else. That's what people miss out on. And they pay people in our countries to represent them, and they look like British nationalists, they look like American nationalists, but they're not. They're Zionists, paid Zionists.
I think people now are more understanding in terms of the page you're on. And the fact that someone's carrying an Israeli flag around isn't it the same as one of these, these working men Brits carrying the Union Jack or the St. George? In the same way, they have that right, but they're not.
Absolutely, of course. I've nothing against the flags as such. Only this seems to be more half a rally to support Israel. It seems more like, we were going to do a bit about England, but it's actually, let's criticise Muslims, which they hate, they despise, of course, and there's only one thing they despise more than Muslims, and that's Christians. And you can see it, what they're doing to our country is not being done by Muslim rape gangs. It's being done by Zionists like Boris Johnson and Liz Truss, who are self-proclaimed Zionists, and they're wolves in sheep's clothing. And Bush was one, and Clinton was one, and they tell you what they are. And Zionism isn't even a religion; it's more like an ideology for absolute domination through money and tricks and the Khazarian mafia type Jews. So I mean, like Judaism, like anything else, there's not just one type of person. So but there's a very rotten element to it. Like Christian Church has got the Vatican and their pedos. No one minds me saying that they're pedophiles in the Vatican, but if you criticise the Jewish religion and say there's pedophiles infested in there, it's like, oh my God, but why is that? Why is that? Because they've constructed, for a century, they've constructed the perfect shield cover under victimhood, which everyone suffered. Christians, 100 million Christians died in World War II. But where does all the focus go? It goes on who owns the media by the people who own all the media, because they build this shield. And they've got it down. It's the perfect psyop. It's a perfect psyop.
As you will see, there are some different views here. There are different sorts of people. Right there, we had Israelis with Irish, someone with polar different opinions. But at the end of the day, people are here for different reasons, not one and the same. And I think it's crucial to realize that they're all desperately unhappy with the state of this country.
The problem we have is that for a long time, liberal secular society, which as a foundation is a good idea, but it's gone too far, because liberal secular society can only work if you have the foundation of traditional values. And if you become complacent, you lose it. There was once a country that was free, and it was a liberal secular society until 1979, when the Islamic occupiers took over, because the people in the country were complacent. They thought they would always have freedom. That country was Iran. Do not turn Britain into another Iran.
Disenchanted is the answer to the corrupt media.
We have seen in this country our values eroded over the past 10 to 20 years, and our faith has been at the core of that. England has always been a Christian country.
I saw thousands of people stand up for our freedom. And what did the mainstream media report? They reported that you good people were thugs. They reported that you attacked the police when I saw them beating you with batons. Do we want to be governed by this filthy, smear-mongering mainstream media? No! Since then, I've been beaten up, maced, brutalised, assaulted, threatened and intimidated for doing journalism and bringing people the truth. We have to replace the mainstream media. We must bring back truth. And may I say, we need to free a man called Julian Assange!
What have you done to defend the sovereignty of the United Kingdom against malign influence of undemocratic, unaccountable bodies like the European Union, United Nations, the World Health Organisation and the World Economic Forum?
Do you have hope for the future?
Well, it's looking pretty glum, isn't it? Basically.
Is it better to be optimistic or nihilist on this?
Of course, it's better to be optimistic. You always look like to the future as there's hope. Yeah, of course you do. Yeah, you've got to have hope. This is hope coming together, and it's just building on this. You got to have hope. Yeah. Well, there's nothing. You know, and yeah, just got to keep going.
Well, that was a brief look at the protest that went on in Parliament Square. A diverse range of people. Not everyone's going to agree. Not everyone's going to think the same. But it was at the same time, it's the common ground is people are sick of seeing their country being taken from them. Didn't matter what colour they were. They are just sick and tired of just seeing their country being sold out to the highest bidder, being taken away, their futures of their grandchildren, the future of their children, all been taken. Their ancestors fought for this country, their ancestors spilt blood for this country, their ancestors blood, sweat and tears for this country. On this land, on other lands, to be the country that we are. And just like all of the West right now, it's being taken by a corporatized New World Order that see us as just numbers. And all they care about is the profit they can get from these numbers. There's a counter-protest going on, a counter-protest of about 20 people, the usual suspects, the woke left, the idiots who seem to think we have unlimited capacity and that we can turn our green and pleasant land into built-up cities, because that's the kind of people that don't think logically. Thank you to all the people that were willing to be on camera today. It's very much appreciated. There was no trouble here to speak of at all. I have seen no trouble. There's been police presence, obviously the police separating the numpties from the people that love this country. And it's been a nice day, and we've actually had some good weather for a change. This is what we define as good weather in England, grey clouds, but at least it's not raining. I hope you like this content. If you did, click the like button, click the subscribe button, and until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Keep progressing.